Hello fellow graphite knights, and in this video we're going to be creating a graphic novel panel that will be used in our upcoming graphic novel Graphknight, in which he is entering the ruins of Lentok. So we're going to get into it. To start, I just want to say that when I set out to do this panel, I knew I was drawing something for the ruins of Lentok. Didn't really have a mock-up of an idea of what that would be. I chose 1 point perspective because I felt like it would be a cool way to show long halls stretching back, and really had to play with that for a minute before I was happy. When you do 1 point, my suggestion to you is just to start by making your box for the back end, because all of the points are going to start going into that box. And if they're off from that point, then it shows that it's out of line. If you're trying to make like a hall at least, right? Like you can have other things. You see this little stone bench I'm building here. It's not in line with that box. It's not going to hit one of the corners, but it makes sense because it's not a part of the room in that way. It's not part of the rectangle that makes the room. Creating the little back hall, and in my head I was thinking, okay, let's talk about these Lentok people. We know they're into gems. We know that they have candles that always burn, even though the civilization went extinct decades ago, and so there's this rumor of it being haunted. But what's the sitch with this area? What do we have going on? And so I was like, okay, well, we can start by, we can put up our candles, we can get our colors right. Like it's going to be very stone based because they built into a mountainside. They went down deep, which is really cool. Very kind of dwarvish in feeling, even though they're not dwarves themselves. And with that, I was like, okay, like gems. I think I'll put up some like gem posters, maybe that's something we'll do. Started working on lighting, right? Because again, these candles are what light the entire thing. They just never stopped burning, and so I moved from my whites to my yellows to my oranges to my reds. I added some shadows for my blues. Tried to give some rings to that to show like the space in between where the candles would touch. And then these are the flags I was talking about. I gave them some banners out for the hall, and they just have little gems on them, nothing too sophisticated. And I was like, maybe I'll put a bunch of different stuff in here. Maybe I'll do this, that, and the other. And I just kept looking. I was like, this hall is barren, and it will always be barren, no matter what I do to it. And I don't know why, but that was just the sense of it I got. It feels narrow. It feels unloved. It feels really just like a front entrance. And I was like, maybe. Not to say that front entrances can't be loved, by the way. If you're watching this, you got a nice front entrance, good for you. I think I got a nice front entrance too. Credits to my wife, not to myself. But anyways, start adding some texture to the walls, but like still didn't want to put anything on the floor. Still did not want to put anything on the floor. Didn't want to give it any like cushions for these. Like who even has stone benches like this in like a room they're gonna hang out in? Nobody. Even if you're like in a mountain, that's just not something. Like who would build this room? I don't know. Just felt like a front entrance to me. So I said, you know what? I think this is a front entrance. And then I did something kind of crazy. And I was like, let's put some doors over this bad boy. We're going to tilt one door in. We're going to have the Graphknight pushing on it, opening this bad boy up. And so we'll be able to see into the ruins of Lentok for the first time. And this is our first peek. It makes sense for it to be empty in this way because, again, this place has been abandoned for years. I'm thinking like 100 years. I think that's what I've said in one of my videos. I don't know, but that's what I'm leaning into right now. At least decades, plural decades. And if that's the case, then it makes sense that looters would have come and ransacked it, that kind of thing. How else would this myth about the lights even begin to develop if no one had ever visited? So the front areas, like the most outward areas of this ancient kingdom, are actually vacant of artifacts, really any valuable artifacts. We're gonna have these little doorposts here. You can see they're stone. I'm building shadow into the spots where gems used to be, and so we'll make a comment about that probably in the novel and say like, oh, the doors are like empty, and so is the front area, and then just adding some shade to make it look like, oh yeah, this is hard like stone texture. That's what we want it to read like. I'm starting to like the doors. I'm feeling happy that I'm doing this. I'm thinking like, okay, that's working. That is making sense to me as like it reads better. I'm like, yeah, okay. All of that fits within this world. An abandoned place with an empty front area because it was looted. The candles burning. And I've already got some panels showing the deeper down if you want to check out the channel. If you've already seen them, let me know which one of your favorite was. I'm pretty excited about how we're building them out in the graphic novel as well. We've got some fun ways to transition deeper in. Now, if you have seen the outside of the ruins of Lentok from my other videos, you'll note that it was covered in moss and grass had grown over things. There was dirt in areas. It just wasn't taken care of. It wasn't loved on. And so that's what we're going to see here as well. We're just going to cover these doors in some like algae-esque things just to show that nature is beginning to reclaim the space, or it has been working on reclaiming the space over the last several decades. Finally, we have our knight's hand. He's just kind of pushing on the door. It's not like latched closed or anything like that. And so he just is giving it a little push to get it open. I think in the graphic novel, it'll probably like screech, like skid against the ground. It doesn't fit well on what it's sitting on anymore, so it just kind of across the ground kind of feeling. We have our base colors for the Graphknight. Love that. Love, honestly, working with him because he's so gray and he's so black and so white with his colors. He really, it's just pencil work. It just feels like pencil work most of the time. And that's fun because he's the Graphknight, right? Like he's Graphite Knight. It's a good time. So yeah, no, he's looking good. I think he's completing the picture, and like all of a sudden with his hand there, now we're telling a story. Before, like we had kind of a look into something, it wasn't clear why, it wasn't clear what was going on, but now we have a picture. Guys, thanks so much for watching this. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.